riding season started out with its fair share of challenges, both personal and on the bikes. So we decided to make this trip about reconnecting, and for me, building more confidence in my riding. That's why we set our sights on a few of our favorite sections of the Mid-Atlantic BDR, sections 2 and 3, and ended with the one section we'd never ridden before, section 5. We trailered our bikes down to the end of section 5 and parked at the Allenberry Resort in Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania. Mid-Atlantic BDR, section 5, leaving our truck and trailer. Gonna take the highway down to section 2, Warm Springs, Virginia. Enjoy a soak in the hot tub, or the hot springs.
Hot springs.
And begin our adventure.
Here we go.
Let's ride. They were so kind to let us leave the truck and trailer there while we explored. And spoiler alert, you'll see why we recommend this place so highly by the end of the video. Leaving Boiling Springs, we wound through a maze of cornfields, which instantly made me think of one of my favorite movies. If you know the movie, comment below. Maybe we'll send you a North Fork Moto candle of your choice.
It was he who walks behind the rose.
From there, it was highway miles to our first destination, the Inn at Warm Springs, Virginia. This quickly became one of my favorite places we've stayed. We made it just in time to catch the last soak of the day in the Warm Springs, healing waters that Thomas Jefferson himself once bathed in back in 1818. The water flows straight from the earth, naturally heated, deep underground, and it stays at a perfect 98 degrees year-round. After 4 hours on the highway, slipping into those soothing mineral waters was exactly what we needed before the real BDR adventure began.
And the food, incredible. One night I had lamb chops over risotto, and the other night I had a filet over risotto with sauteed vegetables. Both were perfectly cooked.
That looks really good.
Busyness here.
Yeah, there's a story. Yeah, there's a story about that.
Word of advice though, make a reservation. Even though the dining room looked empty our first night, it wouldn't seat us at all until after 8 p.m. Was it worth the wait? Absolutely. Especially when you finish with desserts like warm fudge brownie and cheesecake. And even in itself has a history. The building was originally a Bath County courthouse and jail in the early 1800s. Our room, it used to be part of the jail. You could still see the original beams and stonework throughout the property. Staying there felt like being wrapped in history, but with just the right amount of comfort layered in. The next morning kicked off our first BDR day. We rode down to the southern end of Section 2 to pick up the route where Tub Run Road begins, a road that's always been closed on our past MABDR adventures. On the way, we stumbled across a raging water crossing and suspension bridge. The crossing itself looked to be 5 feet deep with a fast current. Not exactly ideal for ADV bikes, so we left to the imagination and instead walked the suspension bridge to take in the view.
Oh gosh. I've never been on a suspension bridge. Good thing I have my helmet on, in case I crash. Wow. This is really scary.
It's almost more stable in the middle than it would.
Really?
Yeah, it does not swing at all. It was swinging a lot over there. It's pretty.
It's really cool. I just see it going back and forth as you stop from over there. Then it was on to Tub Run Road. For the most part, it was fun. Nothing too technical, but the fresh Jeep gravel and the turns kept things interesting. After 10 plus miles of that, I was definitely ready for a break.
finally ride Tub Run. It's not very technical, but it's beautiful. The fresh, deep gravel made it a little tricky though. Our new Tusk 2-track tires were real champs, period. You had to go quick enough to keep up your momentum, but couldn't go too slow or you'd sink in the gravel. And these tires were just the ticket to get us through.
Luckily, our favorite coffee stop in Lewisburg, West Virginia, Manic Coffee, was nearby.
Cheers.
Pumpkin frapps in hand, and no, it's never too early for pumpkin spice, we carried on, spotting a few leaves already turning for the season. And then came a first for me, exploring Island Ford Cave. We just happened to see the entrance right off the road and couldn't resist stopping.
You ready, Batman?
I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
This is where the body is.
What's on top of the thing? Is it a bat? A bird?
Oh, it's a bird. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Can't even see what they're obviously.
That's what's scary. They're going to come after us.
It was my very first cave, and we had it completely to ourselves. If only we'd brought headlamps and the right footwear, we might have ventured deeper into the 6-mile loop of paths. But ADV boots don't exactly scream cave climbing.
I mean, we don't have headlamps or anything.
Careful, it's deep right there. Since we were on schedule and wanted another dip in the warm springs, and of course, to make earlier dinner reservations, we took Scenic Highway 220 back. Along the way, we stopped at Falling Springs Falls, a stunning 80-foot waterfall that Thomas Jefferson himself once described as remarkable in his 1781 book, A Note on the State of Virginia. Today, it's just as dramatic, spilling into a lush gorge. That evening ended by the fire pit, swapping stories with fellow VDR riders we met at the hotel. The sound of cicadas humming all around us, the glow of the fire, and the easy camaraderie of talking bikes and routes. Doesn't get better than that.
The next day was Section 3, which we already knew was going to be a blast. It didn't disappoint. Plenty of large gravel and embedded rocks to keep us bouncing along, and the perfect surface for building confidence on uneven terrain. Most of the water crossings were dried up, but the scenery made up for it.
Oh, and we succeeded on a scavenger hunt. The night before, one of the riders we met at the fire pit mentioned he had lost an air cushion seat somewhere along Section 3. Well, sure enough, I spotted it on the trail. Peter, it's on its way back to you today. Midday, we took a break for ice cream. Then we wrapped up the evening with a ride on Skyline Drive in the Shenandoah National Park. Not technically the BDR, but trust me, it's worth every mile of the overlooks at sunset. Fun fact, Skyline Drive was built in the 1930s by the Civilian Conservation Corps during the Great Depression, and the hand-carved overlooks are still some of the best views in the park today.
The next morning started with coffee and a surprise. Right next door was the world's smallest moto shop, Jackrabbit Moto. The sign on the door? Out riding. Fair enough. With weather this perfect, high 60s, low 70s, it was hard to blame them. We made our way north toward Section 5, but not before a couple of fun roadside stops. First, Dinosaurland, a quirky roadside attraction that's been delighting families since 1963, with over 50 fiberglass dinosaurs towering along the path. Clay had to stop and wanted pictures with all the dinosaurs we could see without actually going into the park. He reminisced about his daughter Haley going through a phase of loving dinosaurs and sleeping with the models in her bed. Later in the day, we made another kitschy stop at Mr. Ed's Elephant Museum and Candy Emporium, home to over 12,000 elephant figurines, the largest private collection in the world. As a fellow elephant lover, I was in heaven. And yes, we stocked up on vintage candy for the road trip home and snagged a t-shirt for my fellow elephant-loving bestie.
Finally, it was time for Section 5. This one runs smooth with fun curves and elevation changes through Michaux State Forest. The real highlight, though, was the famous MABDR drink cooler tucked outside a rider's cabin. We'd heard about this stop for years, but meeting Adam, the rider behind it, made it extra special. This is the third year he's been running the drink stand for the fellow BDR travelers. He mentioned traffic has dropped since the new Southeast BDR opened, about half of what it used to be. But he still keeps a cooler stock. We signed the guest book, shared an athletic NA beer, and traded BDR tales. He's never ridden the Northeast BDR, so we told him he has to join us for that one day. Before he left, Adam pointed us towards Bonus Dirt, Stillhouse Road and Ridge Road, former BDR tracks with beautiful overlooks. There was a road closure sign, but other riders coming through assured us it was passable, and sure enough, we slipped right through without an issue.
What we didn't expect was how the day would end. Back at Allenbury Resort, I text BDR ambassador Mark Axelberg to share the highlights of our ride. He and his wife were nearby and joined us for dinner. While Clay and Mark talked all things bikes and BDR, his wife and I connected over family and pets. It was the perfect ending to our trip. Heartfelt, unexpected, and deeply memorable. That night, we capped it all off with a soak in the hot tub and sauna before bed. Exactly what our bodies needed after 640 miles, mostly dirt, over 3 days. And now, with every section of the Mid-Atlantic BDR under our belts, I can confidently say that this ride was about so much more than checking boxes. It gave me back my confidence on the bike, reminded us how important it is to slow down and reconnect with each other, and deepened our bond with the incredible BDR community. And of course, plenty of relaxing along the way, whether it was hot springs, scenic overlooks, or sharing stories by the fire. This trip was exactly what we needed, a true ride and relax.
Yes, ma'am.
Clay, what's your favorite part of our room?
Staring at this sad fellow all morning. See, he lost his shoe. And he can't get it because he's a puppy. See? It's terrifying.
Weird artwork, huh?
Do you see him side-eyeing you, right? Watching you sleep?
Watching you sleep.
Watching you? Well, you're awake from me, so you don't sleep.